This is a series of examples of real candles that were addressed and set for specific petitions. They are presented here anonymously. I've allowed at least one moon cycle to pass before putting the video up, and in most cases much more than that. I tried to capture a variety of moods, tokens, and obstacles, and successes to give you an idea of the range of expressions a glass encased vigil candle will produce. The idea is that by seeing a lot of real examples, you can get a sense of how you might feel about any of the indicators. This is a highly subjective art. However, through much practice, you will find that there are many correlations that we share with the world and the world with us. I see them like captured moments from a vignette. In practice, the more you read, the deeper you can read, the more you can learn about your symbolic dictionary that existed, but maybe you weren't entirely conscious about, your archetypal language fluency, and then that develops also in time, especially when you start to kind of almost categorize and catalog these things, and you start to connect more, just like any art. I feel that any art does that, visual arts, music, the tie between the stimulus, the senses, the reception, processing, and then reporting it back out, which is always an oracular act. We do it all the time. This is candles. Some people make movies. Some people bake, So, enjoy. Be informed. Okay, this is a road opener candle that I wanted to share because I found it exceptional the way you have a couple of different kinds of soot here. It goes from the lighter to the darker, and then the soot clears dramatically right there at the near in the lower section. Also, I wanted to this demonstrates a clear example of small thin bands that are broken by the burn. And if you look closely, if I can capture it, we have more of those bands that are fractured or cleared entirely in sections, meaning obstacles that were overcome. And of course, this is an open road candle. You want to definitely, any examples of obstacles that are being cleared and overcome are a good thing. Sorry about the dog in the background, it's a neighbor's dog. And then all of the wax was consumed from the bottom. So it looks like this I like to see this with the road opening candle because it acknowledges maybe the challenges and obstacles, but then there is a clearing and there is a breaking of those boundaries and obstacles. This is a classic positive indicator to me of opening roads and overcoming obstacles. This is a come to be candle. We have a bit of a reconciliation that we're burning for here. Herbs on the glass, resolvable issues. Most of the wax was consumed. And the image that captured me was the boat at the very top of the glass here, if I can focus correctly. There we go. Looks like it has a dragon face on the front. Looks like a boat sailing in the sky. And that suggests overcoming challenges, navigating through difficult times. The sky symbolizes hope and the promise of reaching a safe harbor. We have a reversing candle. There are some herbs on the glass, resolvable issues. We have some banding on the glass, but there are places where there's a space where it breaks. So those would be
obstacles that are overcome. Most of the wax was consumed. Pretty good burn. Clear, no soot. And then the token at the bottom was the outline of a bird, which generally leans toward the hope aspect of things, especially with a burn that's this good. So I consider this to be a successful burn. And the bird, freedom and positivity, and the outline being, it's almost the plan of the hope, but it's not filled in yet. Positivity and hope, and therefore it's protective in the sense that it's affirming a good outcome. It's not directly reversing. It's not a mirror. It's not a shield. It's not an arrow. It's not a horseshoe-shaped U, where something is going backwards from where it came, but it is positive nonetheless. And I would consider it to be successful. Positivity, when you're deflecting negative energy, is protective. Okay, this is a confusion candle. Specifically, the petition was about a slander situation, and they wanted the target to be confused and lose their train of thought and lose their control of mind. So we have some herbs on the glass. These are resolvable issues. You can see that there's a messy layer of wax on the jar, indicating obscurity, which aligns with the petition. There is a solid ring of wax around the bottom that is substantial enough to say that the petition is asking for more work. And we have as the image a bird who's landed on, looks like one of two logs of poop, feces. Birds do align with gossip and slander, among other things, but that is consistent with this petition. And it says two things: talking shit, gossip and slander, and also landing in shit, which says that target has landed in some herself. So I would say that the candle requires a little bit more work to be done, but they're on the right track, and it's identified the target and the purpose and acknowledged the petition. So here we have a set of 5 hotfoot candles for the same petition. Somebody wants to hotfoot somebody out of their situation, out of their lives. And one observation you can make before you start reading them individually is, how do they look together? So one thing that we can notice is that the wax rings at the bottom, we have I would call that a thin wax ring, another thin wax ring, and then we have a thick wax ring. That's a substantial ring. I would report that definitely as an obstacle. And then the next two have very little wax. I would report that as almost all the wax has burned, maybe even all of the wax has burned. And so as a progression, that tells a story of perhaps in the middle there was more. The target was more obstinate and maybe putting up an obstacle to the situation, and perhaps as it moves forward, it becomes easier. We'll have to read the whole candle to know more of the story. Another thing is the herbs on the glass. You have a few, one large one small one, and then almost none, just little pieces, and a couple there. The general feel of the resolvable issues kind of escalates there at the beginning and then lessens towards the end. So maybe the resolvable issues and the obstacle is all in this area, and then perhaps the lessening of those things and getting over the obstacle is in this area. But like I say, we read the candles individually as well to tell more of the story. Here's an example of soot on the upper part of the jar, indicating resistance, but then it clears as the burn progressed, and most of the wax is consumed. There's a thin ring of wax. Sometimes I mention that thin ring of wax. It's, the burn has done its thing. It's burned satisfactorily. I like to mention it, but not make too much of it. It is much thinner on one side than it is on the other. And with regard to obstacles and things like that, perhaps that means that it's thinning out. You're finding a way of resolving it. But yeah, a tint of soot on the upper glass. However, it cleared as the burn progressed. And large pieces of herbs too. Say Justice candle. Most of them are done with brown wax, which has a tendency to not burn the best. So you often end up with it reflecting rather appropriately how difficult topics of justice and court cases and things like that are. In this case, we have some herbs on the glass, resolvable issues. Most of the wax was burned. This is quite good for a brown candle. And the herbs, if you can see here, turn it slightly this way. We have Anubis, well, a pharaoh hound, and they're linked to the weighing of the heart to the feather and things of that nature. Definitely about judging, the actions of somebody in their life, which this is what that's about. This petition was about bringing some people to justice that had done some wrong things. So this was a successful burn.